Hey, what's going on, everyone? Today we're back at it with another video. Today we're going to go over OverTheWire. It's a website, if you're not familiar with it, that has different war games, essentially different hacking scenarios that you are allowed to explore. More specifically, today we're going to look at NATAS levels 1 through 5, or 0 through 5, and it is focused primarily on web exploitation. I have covered this before in my blog, but today's focus is going to be on completing these levels using only Python. Alright, so to get started, you would head over to the website, obviously, OverTheWire.org. Then on the left side, if you were to go to War Games, you would see the NATAS over here under Online. Pretty much, this is just going to be a simple explanation as to how the games will go. There's going to be no SSH. It's all going to be used through the browser, or in this case, we're going to be exploiting it through Python. So all we need to grab from here, though, is going to be the username, the password, and the URL that we're going to be accessing. So leave that there. Take note of that. And then we're going to pull up the terminal, and we're going to go ahead and start creating our Python file. So first, I suggest that you create a specific directory for this tutorial or this walkthrough. This way you have all the Python files in one location, and you could go ahead and view them at any time. I'll show you what I mean when I get to that point. Alright, so first we're going to go ahead and run up Vim, and then we're just going to do NATAS 0.py. I've been using Vim a lot more lately, so if I make any mistakes, please bear with me as I learned Vim. I used to use Nano a lot, but I have heard that Vim is also a good tool to use, or to get used to. Alright, so the first one we're going to do is we're going to declare this file as a Python file with the shebang, and we're going to say, this way we could execute this without actually using the Python 3 interpreter. Alright, and then the first 3 lines we're going to go ahead and assign 3 variables. So the first one is going to be the URL. So we're just going to use URL, and then we'll just go ahead and paste that. Let me grab that real quick. The next variable that we want to assign is going to be the user variable. Which is on the website. And then lastly is the password, which is also not a 0. Alright, so now that we have the credentials and the address that we want to view, we're going to go ahead and assign another variable to R, and this is going to use the request.get function within the request library. But before we do all that, we also must import that library here, and then here at the bottom we'll go ahead and assign that. The first one that this request.get function is going to look at, so we'll just go ahead and pass that here. And then we also obviously want to authenticate with the username and password, so we're just going to go ahead and use the keyword auth and then put that inside of a bracket. Alright, and then all we got to do from here is just print that, essentially. So we're going to do print and then r.text. Then we'll save and quit. Then we'll execute it. Well, first let me make it a executable, which I have done previously, as you can see. Alright, perfect. So now we know that the request library that we have imported works as intended. So this is essentially viewing the website as if we were in the browser, and maybe clicking F12 or even right clicking and hitting like view source code or something like that. But this has everything that we need. As you can see, it is just the HTML code for that website, and then it also is giving us the password for NATAS1. So all we got to do now is we're just going to grab that password, and we're just going to pretty much traverse to the next level. How I went about this is I just went ahead and copied, or is it NATAS 0.py, and we're just going to name it NATAS 1.py now, and then we're just going to edit the second one, or NATAS 1.py. And then in here, all we want to change now, and it's going to be the same thing as we go forward, so I'll skip through this, the next one will come around. So we're just going to change that to NATAS1 now, as that is the new website we are accessing. I'm going to change the username to NATAS1, and the user password will be the one that we just copied. Alright, so now that we have edited those variables, we're just going to go ahead and print the source code again. Execute that. Alright, so this one's kind of a give me. So if we were in the website, it actually does not allow us to right click. As you can see here, we would get this this alert saying right click has been blocked. But since we're viewing the source code directly, this level kind of doesn't really apply here, because now we have the password for NATAS 2. So I'm just going to skip forward and we're just going to do the same thing. We're just going to post it for NATAS 2. So I changed the variables again. I put it in the new password. Let's go ahead and print this one and see what we get. Alright, so we see the source code here. We see that we are NATAS 2. We notice that in the body, pretty much, that we are getting this message saying there's nothing on this page. But we also notice a image that is located inside of the files directory with a pixel. Let's go ahead and check out this directory and see what we get. Alright, so all we gotta do here is just go ahead and change this to files. And if we were to execute it again, now we are in this new directory. Alright, so now that we're in here, we can see a few different things as well. So we see we got some more images here. We got back.give, image2, text. We also notice a users.text. Real quick, I just want to go over something that I also found out while I was doing this challenge, is that we're able to get rid of this. So sometimes this gets kind of filled up with these characters here. So there's a way to go about that. So what I did was, if you go to, this time we will import the HTML library, and then we will use the onEscape function, and we'll pass the R as an argument, and then we'll just go ahead and print the e.text this time. And then if we do that, we will see that the characters are gone now. So it helps clean it up a little bit. I've used that even in the later challenges, and it definitely makes it look better. Alright, so with that though, let's go ahead and take a look at this users.text, as that obviously sounds interesting. Alright, so we went ahead and added the users.text to that URL, and then we're just going to go ahead and print that to the screen and see what we see. And there we go. So now we're viewing that users.text file within that files directory, and then we can see here we got the NATAS 3 password. So from here we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and copy that file, make another file, and then we'll start editing that file. Alright, so this is the level 3. It's pretty similar to the last one, but this one pretty much doesn't give us any hint as to where to find this directory. We don't see that files directory referring to that image. But what we do get is this hint saying that not even Google will find it this time. So previously, when I completed this challenge a couple months back, I learned about the robots.txt file, which is essentially used by search engines to disallow and allow these browsers to pretty much scrape these directories. So with that, that's just a hint at that. So we'll go ahead and add that to the directory and see if that is what we're referring to. We added the robots.txt. We'll go see here and see if that prints. And there we go. So now we have another directory that was disallowed and not shown to Google, as you can see here. So let's go ahead and see if we could get to that directory now. Go ahead and execute it. And there we go. So as you can see, it's pretty much the same thing as the last one that we had. We got the users.txt file, so we'll just go ahead and see what's in there again. There we go. Now we got password for NATAS 4. Alright, so I've updated the file again, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the source code for NATAS 4. Alright, so there's the source code for NATAS 4. This one is pretty interesting. From this point forward, it does get, I would say, more fun. So this one says access to disallowed. You are visiting from blank, while authorized users should come from only NATAS 5. So essentially it's saying that there's a header which is called the refer, and that refer is referring from the NATAS 4 level, whereas it should be saying that we are coming from the NATAS 5 level. So when I went over this in my blog, I had covered this and shown this in Burp. But for this, we're just going to go ahead and change it in Python, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so once you're in here, pretty much all you want to do is just add another argument or parameter to the request.get function. Essentially, we're going to refer to the headers, and we're going to change a variable inside of there using a dictionary. Alright, so we're going to do a comma to designate that we are specifying another keyword, and we'll put headers, and then we're going to use the dictionary syntax, and then we're just going to say refer, and then we're going to assign the value to that key as the NATAS 5. Alright, so we had pretty much said that the headers, well, within the headers, the keyword refer will be assigned the value of NATAS 5, saying that we had came from here, and then we'll just go ahead and print that. And there you go. While you're in there, you could also, after fixing all your credentials, just go ahead and change the, just get rid of the headers for now. It doesn't matter if you keep it there or not, because we are actually coming from NATAS 5 at this point. But just to clean it up and get back to the originating point that we started from. Alright, so let's go ahead and execute that now. So the last one that we're going to cover today is going to be NATAS 5. Essentially, as you can see here, it says access disallowed. You are not logged in. So this is going to be a cookie, and this cookie is going to be assigned pretty much a 0, saying it's false, that the user is not logged in, which I will print to the screen and show you. Alright, so an easy way to see the cookies that we're going to be accessing, just go ahead and print that to screen. So let's do print e.cookies. Then once we execute this, we'll see here at the top, this is the print function we just created, and we notice that there's a cookie right here saying logged in equals 0, essentially saying it is false, the user is not logged in. So all we got to do to change that is, or just add to the request.get function again, and we're just going to add the cookies keyword. Again, assign it to a dictionary. It will say logged in, and then we're going to assign that to the number 1. That is going to be saying that the user is in fact logged in, or true. Close out the dictionary, close out the request.get function. Go ahead, just leave that print function for the cookies, and then once we execute this, there we go. So now essentially we had told the website that we are in fact logged in by passing that cookie of logged in equal to 1, and we have the password for NATAS 6. Alright, so that's going to conclude today's video. Today we went over NATAS, the over-the-wire wargame for web exploitation. It's a pretty popular one, or one that a lot of the new guys have been using to get introduced to this side of the world. I've done this challenge actually years ago. I've recently done it again once I started picking this back up again, and then this time around I decided to go at it with Python. This whole challenge for me was to not look at any walkthroughs or any instructional posts or YouTube videos relating to NATAS and Python. Instead, I want to look into the documentation and just get a deeper understanding as to what was going on, so I can increase my skill using Python. I encourage you to do the same. While you're doing these challenges, if you do happen to come across this video, check out the documentation. I will post it in the description below, just for maybe the request.get library, pretty much to give you a better understanding as to what you're doing instead of just copying and pasting it. Sometime this week, maybe next week, I will drop another video doing levels 6 through 10. Those happen to get a little bit more challenging. I enjoy those, and then eventually maybe we'll go on to level 10 to 20, and then maybe 10 to 30. But right now the plan is to stick to 1 through 10. Alright, so as always, until next time, never stop learning.